I've only had maybe like 2 bad trips on mushrooms, but the both times that I did, the way that I was able to come right back down was watching like fucking Gullah Gullah Island or
Oh my god.
something like
Gullah
that.
Gullah Island, dude.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
Right.
Remember.
Bananas in pajamas.
But yeah, dude, any Nick Jr. Dude, I would legit pretend to be sick growing up to watch Nick Jr. shows.
Oh man. I mean, it's good stuff,
It was amazing. And by the time like Big Blue in the Big, oh God, what was it fucking? What's
Bear in the Big Blue House?
Thank you. By the time that was actually on TV, I was way too old to be watching it, and I still loved. I was like 12 or 13 watching Gullah Gullah Island and Bear in the Big Blue House.
I mean, whatever, man. Sometimes you just need a nice, easy, like, safe show to latch onto for a little bit,
Yeah, man. I don't know. I have a ton of Band-Aid shows, and I have a hard time like watching anything new because I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. So I end up just rewatching shit all the fucking time.
Yeah, right. I try to broaden my horizons, but like I know I have a couple shows that I know are gonna do it.
Yeah,
so it's like I don't know. I'll probably just rewatch Steven Universe again for like the 5th time.
See, that's one I haven't seen yet.
You know what? You know what is a nice, like, kind of calming, grounding, music outfit?
Yeah, something to listen to that like will definitely put you in a good mood and turn around an aggro vibe or
right, and to just kind of like be at peace. Chill out a little bit. Get everyone in the room calming down.
I can't think of one.
No.
Well,
I kind of have it. There's one called Run the Jewels. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Super chill. Very like kind of low energy hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just nice stuff to kind of bob your head to and tap your toes.
Okay. Sure. Let's. Fuck it. I'll talk about it. I never heard of them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you want to go ahead and pop on one of their records, it doesn't matter which one. We'll probably pick the same one.
I'll just pick one out at random.
Well, if that's the case, what's up, buds? Welcome to another episode of the EBP cast. That stands for Ear Buds Podcast, baby. We are your hosts, as always, Brett Nickelodeon Jr. Hanrahan. Join with me, as always, Lucas Disney Jr. Indrakovs.
Disney Plus.
We're here bringing you the best and brightest in music, and that definitely includes the band we're talking about today, which is Run the Jewels with their album RTJ4, baby.
Whew, probably their strongest album since their debut, I would say.
It's not like they've ever had a bad project, but this one goes hard.
This one goes hard, man, and I feel like they kind of rested on their laurels a little bit in their second and third records because
I thought you loved the second record the most.
I do, but by the time the third one came around, I still liked it a lot. Like you said, there's not a record that RTJ has put out that isn't good, and I've liked all of them, but the hypeness thing with them by the third album really did start getting like a little old for me, even though I still liked it.
Right.
But what was really great about RTJ4 was how different it was at times than like most of the stuff that they had put out previously.
I mean, it's still hype beast, going hard in the paint, absolute dishing these nasty bars, that braggadocious rap. Nothing has changed about that. But you can tell they're on some next level stuff.
Yeah, I mean I think the braggadociousness was almost on the back burner on this one. They weren't really bragging a lot on this as much as they were just talking about. I don't think there was a lot of bragging on the record, like compared to how much social commentary there was.
I mean, there is a good amount of social commentary on this one for sure, but
yeah,
I mean, every song they're talking about, how dope they are, and the Nikes or whatever they got.
Yeah, I mean the opening track is that's exactly what you want from Run the Jewels, and it is super braggadocious, super hype. But I would say like once you start kind of getting into, I don't know, like Holy Kalamafuck and Walking in the Snow and Just Pulling the Pin, the closing track, A Few Words for the Firing Squad. I mean, all of those to me are just like straight up social commentary, perfect for the time that it came out, which was like June of 2020.
Which is crazy because, they were recording this stuff in like 2019, I believe, and Killer Mike wrote that lyric where he's talking about
I Can't Breathe.
Yeah, police brutality and Can't Breathe, and he wrote that before the George Floyd incident because there was another incident before that where a guy getting murdered by the police said the same thing.
Yeah, I think it was the guy in New York City, man, that he was just selling like Lucy's, like single cigarettes, and he got choked out by the cops.
Oh my god!
But I listened to this album the day it came out, and man, June 2020, there was so much going on.
Right.
That was not even 2 years ago at this point, but it seemed like the world was on fire.
There was
at that point
a lot of kind of social reform of ideologies of what this society should be. There were a lot of riots and
tons of riots, tons of protests.
And you know what there wasn't a lot of? There wasn't a lot of music.
No, I mean, a lot of people had postponed tours and album releases and all this stuff because not only were all these fucking protests and all this social like fucking bonfires happening in June of 2020, but also COVID was like, we were deep in the early days of COVID of like feeling like everyone's gonna die. What the fuck is going on? Like it was such a emotionally exhausting period in our history,
right?
That this album meant so much to me the day I heard it. And I think they released it, and they knowingly released it when they did, for their fans. I've like their statement when they put it out, where they said, they released it earlier than they had originally planned,
right?
And they said, "Fuck it, why wait? The world is infested with bullshit. So here's something raw to listen to while you deal with it all."
Yeah,
and we hope it brings you some joy.
They released it for free on their website.
Yeah,
and the proceeds went to a foundation that I believe LP is associated with. I don't quite remember. It was on like a Genius Lyrics song, so I couldn't possibly.
Yeah, like you're never gonna find that one line again.
But it made a good amount of money for that charity, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
And it's not like Killer Mike and LP have ever strayed away from political content in their music. It's not like they've ever shied away from it, but I don't think it's ever been so
such a focus.
And in this
on a
time
lot of stuff,
when a lot of us are kind of finally opening our eyes to what this society is and what it does to certain people and the people in power, like for us personally, I think it hit a lot harder than other albums, other RTJ albums, and even Killer Mike solo work.
Yeah, the timing could have been more perfect for me to listen and hear this record. Like, I didn't realize how much I needed this record until the day I heard it. you know, and I feel like they gave me something to like let out my aggression and my fear and my frustration with everything that's going on. And like, you know, also I feel like every time I listen to Run the Jewels, I learn something. And I felt like that was especially the case on this record, where this was around the same time I was reading that book Lies My Teacher Told Me.
Right.
And you know, I was feeling very disconnected from like the society that I lived in, and disconnected from the things that I believed in morally, you know, and this album was just another huge, you know, launching pad for me to just start trying to learn more and be more aware. And it's there's a line that LP uses on this one of these songs, I think it's towards the end, where he says something like, "Since when did being so aware be so fucking depressing?" You know, or like, since when did being you know, having like, just generally, just when did being aware of things that were going on around me mean that I was just going to be sad all the time?
Yeah,
and it felt very much that way when this album came out, and it hasn't really stopped. Like, the 2020 was a huge year in terms of like opening my brain a little bit.
I definitely consider it kind of a privilege that I really wasn't so aware of this stuff before. That,
Right.
you know, minorities and people in poverty it's been their life. You know, it's not like they can get away from this. I can stop doom scrolling on Twitter and TikTok, you know, but
It's hard.
It's tough. But I can choose to, you know, get away from that stuff. But these people can't choose to get away from their lives.
Right.
And so it's, you know, it's rough kind of learning about all this stuff that's been happening right in front of your eyes. How society works from its foundation, and how it oppresses people, how it makes the rich richer and the poor poorer, how it discriminates against anyone that doesn't, you know, that isn't white or a man, really.
Or rich.
Yeah, just a rich white man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fucking dangerous record for me to put on when I'm walking around my like rich ass white neighborhood that I live in, because it just makes me hate all these fucking people who are like watering their lawns every single goddamn day, despite there being a mega drought in California for the last fucking 30 years or something, or that give me dirty looks just for walking around and having tattoos and like daring to be, you know, standing in front of their house letting my dog sniff their lawn. Like, I get that shit. You know, it doesn't happen often, but when I do, I'm just like, man, fuck y'all. And I was walking around my neighborhood listening to this album, and I'm just like, this is making me so aggro. This album fucking puts me in a pissed off aggro mood.
And it sounds like that's exactly what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm with, from their hype ass beats to their, you know, to the lyrics and the messages that they're trying to get across in this, it is just like, ooh, this is an aggressive album.
Right. Yeah, you can almost, compared to previous works, you can almost taste how raw it is, and there's a lot more kind of spite and anger fueled behind the performances of these vocals.
Yeah, and I think definitely, man, and I mean, just like, I think there's some of Killer Mike and LP's best lyrics are on this record.
Do you have some written down?
Man, I don't. There's so many, the sheer number of lyrics, the sheer amount of words on every single song that they write for each verse is like dizzying. Yeah. And it's daunting to try and pick it apart. So I don't really try to. There were a couple of like lines that I just thought were so funny, like on Out of Sight, where he goes, "Bitch, we cool as penguin pussy on the Polar Cap Peninsula."
Right. Just throwing that in the middle of that verse.
I love it. I think Walking in the Snow has some of Killer Mike's best lyrics ever. And I think that A Few Words from the Firing Squad are some of LP's best lyrics that he's ever written.
Yeah, ever since the first album, they've had a special... Yeah. That last song is in a very special place. You know, that last song is meant to be there to end the album on a not like a somber note or anything like that, but it's always probably it's usually the most conscientious song It's usually
Right.
the most like personal song on the record.
Man, and a few words is such an amazing song, and it's just heavy. Heavy,
Right.
heavy lyrics, heavy themes. This is a very time and place record for me. Like if I'm just chilling and I want to be happy, I don't like this album.
Right.
Throughout getting ready for this podcast, I've listened to it in different moods and in different settings, and set and setting is so important with this record because if I'm hype or like in a really good mood, you know what I mean, where I'm like hyper and energetic, or
Yeah.
if I'm angry or feeling fucking aggro for some reason, I don't think there's a better record to listen to.
Right.
You know, other than like maybe some old Rage Against the Machine. You know, like this is the next best
Right. And
thing to put me in even a deeper aggro mood.
because no, as far as I know, I'm sure they're out there, but no rap outfit is really going this hard. You know,
You know,
It's-
we love Earth Gang, right? Like I love Flatbush Zombies.
yeah, but even they're not doing these like momentum, like pacing beats that just don't let up.
They just pummel you, dude.
They
pummel you. But and I think I love that we still got that classic Run the Jewels type hype beat, but there really is like some different stuff on this that I guess you could kind of categorize as more like boom bap ish than just straight up hype. Like I think like Ooh La La and Out of Sight and like Never Look Back, those songs are still hype and they're still like energetic, but I think those beats they're doing something a little different. And I do think, like you said, about them bringing something special and something really memorable in terms of like lyrics and delivery on this album. I think the beats really match that well, where some of these beats are more impactful and make the lyrics more hit harder because they're not just like trying to be so fucking hype the whole time, you know. It's like they sacrificed the energy and the hype to be more aggressive and slower and more kind of like pounding in a really like like I'm just, you know, I'm hearing like flesh against flesh on some of these songs.
But that's not to say that these tracks are minimalist in any way.
Not
Like,
at all.
they-
Sometimes there's too much going on.
And I love that, dude. There are like
You do
a
love
surprising amount of layers. LP has always been one of my favorite producers, just because it's so interesting, really digging into his beats and finding these weird samples and these instruments that you wouldn't really, hear.
Sometimes I don't
otherwise.
know if it's a bell or a xylophone. I don't know if like I love his use of like synth vocals on a lot of songs
Right.
too.
Yeah.
He does a great job of using a lot of those like hey or oh stuff in his beats just to kind of keep this really energetic vibe to it. But I mean, one of the songs that just had way too much going on in the beat for most of the song for me was Holy Kalamafuck.
Holy Kalamafuck! It
That one
sounds like
stands out to me so much.
Sounds like that's exactly what they were wanting to do.
Yeah, he wrote a Kalamafuck of a song. Like this it's slower delivery in their from them than I'm used to hearing, which I
Right.
thought was interesting. Like they also don't do the I got to get in as many words as possible in each fucking line on every song on this record either, and that's kind of what you're used to hearing from them. So I liked that they switched it up a little bit and allowed a little bit of space there to kind of like let those lines hit,
Right.
give you a second to think about it. But man, that glitchy bass and like I love in Holy Kalamafuck, the bells or the xylophone thing with like the glitchy bass and the synth was all cool, but it was so much going on. But then I love that the second half of the song just completely changes.
Right. It just kind of like switches up completely.
So much more enjoyable, and it just hits so much harder for me because that first part is so busy, but you love those really busy
I
beats.
love
Your
those
fucking ADD addled brain.
chaotic beats. Yup.
Yeah,
Yup.
man, the caveman in you is just like just hit as many rocks as you can to keep my attention.
Look, I'm just over here. I was nearly an iPad kid. You gotta have something interesting to hold my attention. So
Yeah.
I gotta you gotta throw some weird bells. I mean, you gotta throw some bongos at me or some timpanis. You got to throw some weird vocal effects on there for me.
Dude, even on the slower songs, they're still like in Walking in the Snow, it's still like so much going on. And but I love when, when LP takes the opportunity to kind of like space out or like let his beats breathe a little bit. And they are both, Killer Mike and LP are really good about rapping to the vibe of the song.
Right. For sure.
And I mean, that's just like, this is like a fucking clinic of that. And they had a ton of features, like a ton of really big features on this record.
Yeah, I mean, from De La Rocha, Pharrell, 2 Chainz.
Yeah, Mavis Staples, who's like a very, legendary, I think she's a blues singer, technically, or I think she did like a lot of dance music actually in the 80s. But then like Josh Homme.
Right. It's like, I was not expecting that, and I kind of wish he took a little more of a stand on that song, on Pulling the Pin.
Yeah, Pulling the Pin is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, it's saying it's one of the slower beats is a little silly, but it kind of reminds me of a Gorillaz song almost, especially with that Mavis Staples.
I gotta say that Mavis Staples has sang on a Gorillaz song at least once. I think she has. But I mean, it's a great beat, but the hook just doesn't work. Her voice doesn't work. The lyrics don't work. It feels forced. And to be honest, like most of the features, I wasn't really impressed with.
No, I mean, I always love to hear Zach De La Rocha in, other contexts aside from Rage. That's always fun.
Absolutely.
Hearing him shout, like, look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar.
Yeah, like, his verse on that song is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I liked the 2 Chainz feature on Out of Sight. I thought it was, like, what's that, like, the first line he does, like, turn on AC.
I don't know. I all remember it was him talking about buying a hot dog stand. Call me Frank because I'm buying a hot dog stand. I'm like, oh god.
I love that, dude.
I don't know. I didn't like 2 Chainz. I didn't like his feature. I didn't really like Mavis Staples' hook. I don't know what Josh Homme did on Pulling the Pin.
I can only assume he played the guitar on that track,
There's
right?
some sort of distortion going on there. But I would say the only ones that didn't really leave me disappointed were De La Rocha and Pharrell. I actually liked Pharrell's hook.
Really?
Yeah.
I found it a little annoying after a bit, honestly.
I found it a little annoying because I've never thought of Pharrell as a woke guy. and is he woke? Is he woke?
I mean, I'd say so. He like produced All Right by Kendrick Lamar. He's in the Neptunes. Like, he's in one of the most, like, acclaimed music outfits.
All right. Well, all I remember from Pharrell is Happy. And
all right. Well, yeah, that was him.
His big-ass Arby's hat.
He wrote that song, and he got the money for the rest of his and his kid's life, all right?
That's true. But I just don't see Pharrell in that light, so it felt phony, him singing those lines, even though I love those lines.
Yeah, like the way he delivered them, I think got a little. It got on my, whatever. I just didn't like it after like. Sweat.
Yeah.
Sweat.
Yeah. You didn't like that?
Nah.
I could definitely hear it being annoying.
But yeah, man, the production on this whole record is great. They're so consistent throughout every song. It's I don't think there's a song that I really don't like. I will say the hook to track 2, Ooh La La, is probably my least favorite moment on the album. Of him going, ooh la la, ah wee wee, ooh, just because it repeats.
Yeah, it's not a great hook.
So many times.
Yeah, but they did put out a strain of weed called Ooh La La here in California, and it used the packaging used the fucking like album cover.
Sure,
and I thought that was pretty dope.
That's their whole thing.
Yeah.
And you know what, man, I love this album, but God, what I wouldn't give to see him, like play some of these songs live.
Oh, dude, I'm hoping to see them play this live when when I see them with Rage Against the Machine in April.
Oh,
I'm just hoping that shit doesn't get canceled, man. I can't fucking wait for that show.
It's gonna be so good. I was listening to Walking in the Snow, and I was just thinking, like, live, how crazy I would get to that song, man.
Dude, that one and Just, and I mean anything from their first 2 records.
Right.
Like I'm just gonna fucking lose it, and then 30 minutes later, I'm gonna hear "Killing in the Name of." Like it's gonna be one of the best nights of my life.
Man, take me with you, dude.
Come here.
No,
Drive
you have
down
to
from
carry
Seattle
me
for once. Pick me up.
I don't want to walk.
Well, I mean, let's get into our choice nugs, man, because I have a feeling that they're going to be very different.
I have that.
AKA,
I
think you're going to be wrong.
Oh, right. Is that right?
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
why don't you go first, Mr. Smarty Pants?
It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs. It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs.
I will mention my honorable mentions first, which are Yankee and the Brave, great opener.
Okay.
I like Ooh La La. I like the beat a lot.
I think the beat is great, but I can't
beat's
stand
great.
that hook.
No, the hook is horrible. They had some bad hooks on this record too. I'll just put that out there. But I like Holy Kalamafuck. The second half is great. The Gram Below, and a very, 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 very close choice nug was A Few Words for the Firing Squad. But I had to go with something else.
Ah,
And my first one is Walking in the Snow, man.
you know what? That's one of mine as well.
Shut the fuck up.
It goes so hard. A nice feature by Gangsta Boo, who is not not shown as a feature on the track list for some reason.
I thought that was weird as well, because she's like from 3-6 Mafia, a legendary rap group. I don't know why they didn't advertise her on this song, but I don't know.
It must be some red tape or something like that.
Maybe so, yeah.
But I love how even if it is a little repetitive, I love the hook. Just got to walk in his stove. God damn the motherfucker.
God damn that motherfucker
like,
cold.
All day I've just been silently kind of like doing that to myself, sad loud. Like,
Yeah.
just got to walk in his stove.
This is a great like hype. This is a great song to walk around and feel cool as fuck, but also like angry.
Right.
The beat gets it out of me, man. And like I said, also like some of my favorite lyrics by Killer Mike. Like he just fucking blew me away on this song. But the beat is great too. The fucking really deep bass, like, you know, that I'm a fucking huge fan of.
Yep. You love that deep bass. I think there's a lot of cool static noises
Yes,
throughout the song.
very
Like,
glitchy.
Yeah, glitchy.
Yeah, and then also he uses those hey, like
Yeah, classic LP.
yeah, just so artistically used, and it's just like, yeah, just what an easy way to hype this whole song up like it needs any help.
Right.
Yeah. And really cool production on it too, where it seems like there's a specific percussion going on in the left ear and another percussion going on in the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear like very specific things in each ear, like for some of the percussion, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, definitely like this is one of the, even though it's still hype, this is one of the one of my favorite songs on the record, but it's a slower beat and it's just like allows you to really take in each line. I mean, just seriously, Killer Mike, like that whole verse of his is just some of the best rapping I've heard. Some of the best lyrics I've heard.
I love in the verse about like 2 minutes in, he's just going off, and as soon as he changes his flow, there's kind of a noise that happens, and it's like an ethereal, like, and it kind of goes with his new flow. It's so cool.
Yeah, when the little like strings in the background are like dun 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 dun, he's like, that's how he's kind of delivering it.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I saying like they promise education, but really they give you tests and scores, and they're predicting prison population by who's scoring the lowest, and usually the lowest scores are the poorest, and they look like me. And every day on the evening news, they feed you fear for free.
Yep.
It's man, it's like, and then you so numb, you watch the cops choke out a man like me until the voice goes from a shriek to a whisper. I can't breathe. and he does it. I can't
It's
breathe.
so crazy
It's like,
because that was
goosebumps.
it was like at its peak when this album came out.
Yeah. I mean, I Can't Breathe was what people were chanting on the streets, man. That's what
Right.
people had on signs and written on T-shirts and everything. And
Yeah.
that line, I remember the first time I heard it, and still to this day, it gives me goosebumps. But that first time, it made me tear up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that whole verse, just like, whew, man, it hits so hard.
And it's just so sad how it it's just sad that it was so relevant before
Yeah.
the whole George Floyd incident. And
Yeah.
it still is. It has been for a while. But just showing that they've been kind of saying this stuff all along, and it's now kind of dawning on us like, this is a lot more, real and tangible than
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, even Killer Mike talks about it on this song, too. It's like you sit there on the house and watch it on TV, but the most you give is a Twitter rant and call it a tragedy.
Right.
You
yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
we're all like social, justice warriors, and to an extent, if all we're doing is posting on Instagram and not actually like trying to make a difference,
Yeah.
It's like, but truly the travesty, you've been robbed of your empathy, replaced it with apathy. It's all in there. Killer Mike is putting it all in there, and it's
Yeah.
just, I can't emphasize how like that verse alone is one of my favorite all-time rap verses.
It seems like he's been wanting to get that verse off his chest. Man, that's the impression I got.
My favorite stuff that I hear from Killer Mike is when he's pissed off and he is expressing it in a really clear, coming from a perspective of an educator way.
Almost like in a lecture kind of.
Yes, exactly. It seems like he's on stage behind a what do they call it, a lectern? What do they call it, a podium?
a little big old desk.
Yeah, just a big old desk.
Yeah.
And he's just he's teaching me, man. And it hits so hard. And like you said, the emotion comes in too when you realize like who he is, what perspective he's rapping from, and who I am. And what
Right.
was, and again, what was going on at the time, and that those 30 lines or whatever, 32 lines that he wrote, were so huge for the time that it came out,
Right.
for sure.
Well, let me get you one of my Narnugs, my second one, I guess, which
I wonder
is
if it's going to be the same as mine.
it's not because it's an honorable mention of yours.
Oh, Elcar.
It is Yankee and the Brave, episode 4.
Yeah, you hype little fucker.
I'm a hype little man. I love how it just they love just kicking off the album sometimes, man, and
It's
just
so
like
good. It's so fucking hype. Just immediately.
yeah, it's just those snares, and they're just back at it like a ugh. The flow is
Yeah,
so
dude.
good. I think it has my favorite line on the album, which is
wow,
a
the
little
first song.
silly. But it's the very last line they do together. Yankee and the Brave are here. Everybody hit the deck. We don't mean no harm, but we truly mean all the disrespect.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that is so exactly Run the Jewels.
It's so great, man. And I love Yankee and the Brave. I think that's such a clever name for them. And I never
Right.
thought about it until, like, Yankee because LP's from New York, and Brave because Mike is from Atlanta.
Yeah, with the Braves.
It's so genius. Yeah, the Braves and the Yankees. And it's perfect.
I think it's cool how they have this, like, TV show scene that they're
Yeah.
kind of narrating on here. And Killer Mike says, like, talks about, I'd rather kill myself. I'd rather put a gun to my head than get caught by the police. And LP's like, well, don't do that. You owe me for these Nikes. You do not get to just die. I thought that was, like, a funny line. And the whole thing is just goes so hard, and the beat
Yeah.
changes a good couple times.
So much going on in that beat at once.
Yes, and I love
So many
it.
things. And they just such a great opener. I mean, just turning up the energy to 1,000 right away. And you're just
Right.
like, that sets you up for the whole album. And the energy doesn't really drop off at any point except pulling the pin, maybe.
Yeah, they have a like those last two songs are definitely kind of a step back in intensity. And maybe
I don't know. The Ground Below has one of the hypest beats on the whole fucking record.
maybe Never Look Back a little bit, but
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, Yankee and a Brave is my second nug. So cool. I wish they said stuff together more often because it sounds so cool. But if they had to put it anywhere, I think they did it in the perfect place on that very last line.
That is something that makes them, it kind of makes them stand out a little bit, where they allow each other to just have a whole verse to themselves.
Right.
But when they do that little bit of back and forth, which only happens maybe like 3 times on this record, I love it. I'm such a sucker for that back and forth because that's when it sounds like they're having fun,
Right.
But man, my second choice nug, following the trend of after my first, the song after it I usually love is Just with Pharrell and Zach De La Rocha.
I remember seeing the track listing for this album before it came out, and this was, I thought that this would definitely be my favorite song on the record, and I still like it. It's still really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Zach De La Rocha has a pretty good hit streak with Run the Jewels, where the songs that he's been on have been some of my favorites on the record. Like Close Your Eyes and Count to Fuck is one of the best Run the Jewels songs. And he's on it, and he's incredible on it, and he's great on Just.
Yeah, and if they could use Zach as much as possible, that's always for the best. Like, they just looped him saying that one line. Run the jewels fast, run the jewels fast.
And yeah, I was worried on Just that all he was gonna do was that one line in the chorus,
like half of that line.
I was so worried. I'm just like, dude, if this is all you guys used him for, like, I'm gonna be so disappointed. But no, he had a great verse.
Right.
And I mean, Rage Against the Machine is one of my favorite bands of all time. So Zach De La Rocha, I don't think is ever gonna miss for me.
Right.
But I mean, everything is great about this song. I do like Pharrell's chorus, the hook that he does, even though, it's Pharrell. He annoys me too. But it's a great chorus. The song is almost kind of dancey while also being hype. It just has a great bounce to it.
It does have it's like a perfect, like, you got your windows rolled down and you're kind of bobbing back and forth in the car.
Yeah, you have that 808 that boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom beat going the whole time, and then those awesome like synth like chorus vocals.
I think those little like Pharrell, yeah. I think that's my like favorite part of the song, honestly.
Yeah, those harmonized like computerized. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and Killer Mike and LP have like slightly different delivery than they usually do. Like, I appreciate the change in their delivery. It's a little more staccato, and a little shorter lines, not trying to, like we were saying, like cram as many words as you can into each line.
It's not so different.
It's not so different, but I appreciate the subtle changes that they did in the song. And that was enough for me to make this one of my favorites.
Well, awesome, man. Tell me what you're gonna rate this dang album, dude.
What is your rating?
Oh man, I was looking back at my my original rating because I was doing my album reviews of the day. And this is one that I did. And, I felt like it was, at the time, and I still do, I felt like it was the perfect album to be released at that time. Like, really strong messages, no apologies in their delivery or the words that they're using. They are just really putting it out there, saying spit on a fucking cop, like literally saying that shit
Right.
in the song. I think they outdid themselves with this, especially for the time that it came out. And it sucks that they had been working on this album a year before even any of this real crazy shit was happening, and how weirdly insightful and like forward looking it was. And I don't think I'm going to rate it as high as I did originally, but like, honestly, this album does piss me off. Like the music pisses me off, the lyrics piss me off. And I think as much as I don't want to be pissed off, I think it's good. Like, I think this album is healthy for people to listen to and like listen to what they're saying, because honestly, like, what the fuck are we supposed to do about any of this like division of wealth and all these baked in like caste and class systems, and like Killer Mike and LP, when I listen to this, like, they make me feel like I can do something about it by learning and speaking the truth and paying attention and calling out all these fuckers that are like purposefully making it harder on us than it needs to be.
And not just posting the event on Instagram being like, oh, what a tragedy. Oh, well.
Right. Not just doing your blackout day and then never talking about it again.
Right.
Like the saying goes, if you're not mad, then you're not paying attention. And that statement rings so true. That's so true, especially with this record. Because if you're not fucking pissed off and radicalized after listening to this record, then you weren't paying attention. So just based off of that alone, that I feel like this is an important album for the most part. I think there's a lot of songs that you can learn a lot and it makes you think about uncomfortable things that you have to start thinking about. That alone would make me give it an 8.0. And I think with how much I enjoyed the songs that I really, really liked, I mean, I think there's only 3 songs that I feel like I don't really care to listen to again. Like, this is a solid like 8.3. And I think I gave it like an 8.5 originally, so it didn't go down much, but 8.3 for sure.
Okay. 8.3. I think I'm going to be a little lower. Just because there are a couple songs and like a couple parts of these songs that kind of get on my nerves. The Pharrell part in Just, the hook on Ooh La La, even Out of Sight has a weird, that little noise.
yeah. I mean, Out of Sight is probably my least favorite song on the record, next to Pulling the Pin.
But this record has so many great songs. I'm always surprised that no one else is really doing rap like this. Mm-hmm. It seems so accessible, so easy to do. But no one would do it better than Run the Jewels anyway. So maybe no one's tried.
That's true.
And so many great songs, so many great lyrics on this one. I feel like Killer Mike and LP just had a fire under them for this record. And they were really feeling it. They were really focused on what this record was going to be. And I think the last song is another killer last song. They're very good on the order of the albums to me.
Yes, for
sure. That last song where it's like a couple minutes of silence and this big old epic trumpet solo, and then a narration of like the end credits of an episode of Yankee and the Brave. And then
so heavy.
Apparently ASAP Ferg is the one saying Yankee and the Brave at the end.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I was surprised when I saw that.
With all that being said, I'm going to give this one a solid 8.
Oh, man. So we're both right there, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I do think I like the second record more. It'd be pretty tough. I'd have to listen to them like all in a row to really rank them. Because, some days the third one is my favorite for whatever reason.
Right.
And some days like the first was the one I first got into Run the Jewels with. But this is a killer rap album. It could stand up. Run the Jewels can stand up with the best of them any day.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I noticed because we did talk about, I think it was one of the, like, in the first 10 episodes that we talked about their first album.
It might have been episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it was episode 2, actually, now that you mention it. I noticed that we were kind of serious the whole time that we're talking about him, because one of the things I love the most about them is that they make you think. And it's as much fun as you can have listening to the album. The only real fun you can have listening to Run the Jewels, like actually having fun to where you want to dance, is if you don't listen to the lyrics, because their music is so fun.
Well, they have a couple, like songs where they get a little more ignorant, a little more, Yeah,
they have a little more fun.
They have a little more fun about it.
It's like I'm saying, like, if with this album especially, if you don't walk away feeling pissed off at the end, you weren't paying attention. But let us know if you guys were pissed off after listening to this album.
At the end of this episode.
Yeah, let us know if I'm pissing you off right now. Follow us at Instagram at EBPcast, at Brett Hanrahan, at Jean-Luc Guitard. Find us on YouTube, youtube.com/earbudspodcast, podbean.com/earbudspodcast. Brett is going to be going on a cross-country move soon, so we are going to try and record a shit ton of episodes so we don't miss a week. But if we do, we apologize, and you guys know why. Brett has to settle in. But,
moving all the way to the Seahawk state of Seattle.
He's moving to the country.
I'm just going to get some farmland. I'm going to raise some crops. I'm going to breed some sheep. I'm
so excited for you to grow weed and raise sheep or whatever.
Yeah, me too. If you guys like this podcast, be sure to tell a friend.
Yeah.
We have a variety of albums. They're going to be interested in at least one of the albums we talk about, and they might even be interested in what we have to say about it.
Who knows? If you know Killer Mike or LP, tag them.
Do not do that. I do not want their attention.
Send them. Oh, I would
be
love it.
So terrified.
What are you doing this podcast if not for attention?
You don't know who I am. I'm just a voice, baby.
Yeah, you're like, this is just stuff you just want to get off your chest. That's been every episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
A lot of my personal life is brought into this podcast.
Well, buds, thanks for listening. Brett, do you know which album we're listening to on the next episode? 'Cause I do.
Yeah, I do. It's an album called Pterodactyl by Scissor and Arm.
Nope, not even close.
Are you sure?
I'm 90% sure because I picked the album. It's called Manticore by Shovels and Rope.
I'm pretty sure it's Pterodactyl by
close.
Arm and Hammer.
No, you're so far off. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll let the fans decide, won't we?
What fans?
Well,
we're only talking to ourselves here.
I guess
bud.
you.
There you go. All right.
We'll let you
accept
decide.
that. Brett, what would you rate this ep?
You know what? I'm going to rate this ep a solid 8.5.
Dang, I'm going to give it an 8.3, just a little.
Okay.
A little lower. Just
all right. Well, Yeah. Was it the pterodactyl thing?
You lost me with that one.
Okay.
You went down 0.2 points. So it wasn't that much.
I thought joke landed.
Well, thanks for listening, buds. And Brett, this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
Bye, buddy.
See y'all next time. Boo, 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 boo.
And a 3, 2,